A BPO, my real estate portfolio for a BPO. On this episode of the Take Note podcast, we have Dickie Baldwin from the Baldwin Advisory Group on. Dickie specializes in helping real estate investors with their problems, whether that's due diligence, closing deals, finding financing. My favorite service that the Baldwin Advisory Group performs is wrangling realtors. To me, nothing is worse than wrangling realtors. So let's jump into this episode and see how the Baldwin Advisory Group can help you. Now be advised, the first 14 minutes are basically a conversation between me and Dickie, where we do a little bit of BSing and talking shop before we really get into his presentation. So if you're short on time and you dislike the presentation, then skip ahead to about 13 and a half minutes. Now if you have the time, I recommend you watch the whole thing. The first few minutes we'll talk about my business, his business, what we've got going on, and just some general BSing. But I think it'll be very helpful for you to know what it's like, what Dickie's like, and the things that I personally use him for. Also, you may notice a little bit of audio scratching from Dickie a few times throughout the video. This is due to the Zoom meeting platform lagging out. Whenever possible, I cut these parts out and tried to have him reiterate what we were talking about. That way you really shouldn't have missed out on anything. Thank you for taking the time to tune in, and I hope you enjoy.
As you know, when we met in Dallas, the BAG website was not live yet.
Yeah. You were. I think you had just bought like the .com. It was nothing.
Yeah, and it really did not go live until January 1 of 2019. Really, without any advertising except word of mouth and people such as yourself that know me. And yesterday was a big day. I had 180 orders come in yesterday.
Good Lord.
Yeah, one guy's buying a pool of, I say 180, it was really 154. Anyway, 76 assets, and he wants O&E and title reports. BPOs and O&Es. With all that being said, that puts me right at 1,500 individual orders sent January 1.
I don't doubt it. Everyone that I've talked to that uses you, we use you pretty extensively.
Absolutely. And with that being where I was going with this, I have an additional 350 plus referrals that go to realtors, attorneys, things that I do not directly handle myself, because the only thing that I handle are the BPO and the title search. And because I want to have control of that. Everything else, if you need skip tracing, I put you directly in touch with that vendor. If you need a realtor, like you were mentioning, I put you directly in touch with that realtor. And I'm reaching out to every one of my realtors. I've got a little over 70 right now. The goal is to have one in every major city of the United States. And I'm going to be reaching out to them between now and the end of the year. And I'm going to put together like a little background chart, you might say, to all of their contact info, but then what cities do they cover, what counties do they cover, can they help with door lock change, do they help with clean outs, do they help with winterization?
Yeah, just a little bit of oversight here and there to help out.
And so when Paul calls me and he needs somebody in Dayton, Ohio, I can say, okay, this guy in Dayton does this, and this.
Exactly, because most of the time you just need a third party to come over and verify that the work was actually done, and that's all you really need. It should only take a few minutes of time.
Well, what I'm doing, the realtors that I'm vetting either have their own construction crews, or they work very closely with local licensed contractors. Because we all know that property preservation, which I've got, can get very, very expensive because they bill for whatever HUD and Fannie allows.
Yeah.
And so they're making money, and then the contractor's making money. So if I'm able to go to a realtor to help clean a house out, you're looking at half the cost.
Yeah, it could save you quite a bit.
And the realtor can still make, a little bit, because what I want to do is boost these realtors' income with folks that they, chances are, never would have ever heard of before.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It shouldn't be too hard to work, get them some more income, because who knows, they have such high up and downs on when they sell, and if the economy changes, this could be a nice little side hustle for them.
Absolutely. And the key to it is to be investor friendly, though.
Yep.
Understand that, hey, there may be an $8,000 house, but right behind it, there may be a $180,000 house.
Well, and that's the thing. It may be an $8,000 house and they're not worth messing with as far as listing it. But if you help me put a new owner in there just through the other fees of showing up, making sure the documents are signed, the place is secure, things like that, you can still make good money for your time, probably a lot better than just, a 6% commission on $5,000 or whatever it would be.
Well, and putting that together and getting this out to all 70 realtors, but then I'm also going to be reaching out to cities where I don't have coverage right now,
Mm-hmm.
and reach out and say, hey, because I've got some realtors that I don't directly deal with, but I have their contact info. Who's interested in,
Okay.
Toledo, Ohio, to be an investor-friendly realtor in the BAG network, and then just explain what all goes along with it.
Cool. I mean,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to have much demand for it, but I know people in Colorado Springs and Pueblo, so if you wanted to add them, you could, but they're pretty hot markets right now and really competitive.
Well, I mean, there's investors everywhere, and you never know when they're going to run across something. And I'll let the
Yeah.
realtors know, hey, I could send you one person, I could send you 50 people. You just don't know.
Well, and you just never know when a market's going to be good or bad for investing, when it's going to change. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. A lot of these hot markets are starting to cool. So it's probably going to be good for us as note investors in the next few years. Realtors are probably going to be hurting. So like if you could offer them this type of little side gig to keep them afloat, it could probably be pretty helpful and lucrative for everyone.
We see the other good part about it is a lot of the realtors deal with their local banks or credit unions
Mm-hmm.
on their distressed asset. Most of the realtors' investor base is in their own backyard. So if the realtor lets me know in Pueblo that they have some distressed assets, they let me know about it. And then whoever has filled out my form and says they want stuff in Colorado, then I simply put them directly in touch with that realtor.
Yeah. I mean, it's just networking on top of networking. It's awesome.
Mr. Connector.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. But it's so important because it is so hard to find good help. It just really is. Like I said, with the realtors, that was the worst part of my job. I was almost getting ready to stop note investing because just getting people out there to do due diligence and do a drive-by and actually give you a picture and get out of the car was next to impossible because they wanted the big commission and they weren't going to get it off these smaller homes.
Right. Well, and that's the other advantage, and I'll mention this when we start recording, but I know there's a lot of folks that have been doing this a while that like to get on the internet trying to find a realtor to do a BPO.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, the realtors and the vendors that I have, their job is to go out and do one thing, and that's to get a value.
Mm-hmm.
Not think about trying to get a listing or anything like that. Once they complete that BPO, it then goes into quality control. And if they don't agree with the realtor, they will send it back for revisions. So you got an extra set of eyes.
Yeah, you've had that happen for, I think, at least 2 or 3 of mine.
Yeah.
Taking another day because they just didn't like it for whatever reason.
And there's no issue on doing that. And that's sort of the other thing. The individual investor will probably do maybe 5 or 10 BPOs a year.
Mm-hmm.
The BAG network, I'm looking in 2020, we'll be doing 300 plus a month.
Oh yeah, I mean you've done well over I think 50 for me just this year.
Yeah, and so it's strength in numbers. When I go to a vendor and say I need this,
Mm-hmm.
then it pulls a little bit of weight.
I need this, I need it and want it this way for my people. And like, hey, look, you messed up. You've got to fix this or else we're gonna have to take all these things somewhere else.
That's it. And what vendor wants to lose that amount of volume?
Well, yeah, if you're getting 300 a month on average, that's really good business for them.
Absolutely. And everybody is able to take the benefit of the strength in numbers, but then if we get a price break, I'm able to pass that on to everybody.
Well, your prices have always been very reasonable. So if they get any cheaper, it's like, great, that's just gravy money. But the value that your services have provided have always, I think, been very fair.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate it. Well, if you want to, let's, my idea on doing this and I, I did a deal for Dan Deppen the other day, and I used him as an example. I don't know if you remember the meeting or not, but I was going through the website. We were either in Dallas or Austin, I can't remember. And I got down to the bottom and I mentioned skip tracing, and Dan raises his hand. He says, "When did you get skip tracing?" And I said, "Since day one." The point being is everybody gets used to maybe doing just BPOs and title searches.
Yep.
They forget about, I can do title curative work. If you need a self-directed IRA, if you need a new servicer. So there's just a collateral review, assignments and recordings. So that's why I like on these podcasts, and I really hope to keep on doing them and doing them all next year, and even a repeat from the original podcast, just to go through, because I'm getting more and more services every day. In fact, after we do this call, I'm going to be speaking with a nationwide notary service, because Dan Fredecki out of Arizona, he needs a notary, and specifically a Spanish-speaking notary. And so it's much easier to contact me. But then I also have just picked up force-placed insurance.
Ooh, okay.
I
may need to talk to you about that then.
I've had an individual reach out to me about tax liens. I've got a lot of newbie people that want to learn the note industry, and there's several mentors that I can put them in touch with to gain their knowledge. And there's a lot of folks that are wanting to get into JVs. So you, as an experienced investor, if you're interested in bringing other monies in, there's a lot of times I can refer somebody directly to you to go into your fund.
Cool. Oh, that's a great service.
And then, as you know, I also am able to connect buyers and sellers of distressed assets.
Yep. Yeah, and I could, it's funny, I think we talked about it before. It's just like, I keep saying I'm not going to buy anymore for the year, and then some good stuff comes across, and it's like, well, I better go ahead while the getting's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just, this last part of this year's been crazy busy. Really, before summer, the prior 12 months were pretty dang slow. It seemed like the market was pretty dry, and it was just not much going on.
Well, how many do you have in your portfolio now?
Currently in the portfolio, I think we're around 50, and then we've done a total of like almost 80 transactions.
Oh, wow.
So we're getting up there.
Wow. So you're going to be like Dan and retire pretty soon.
I don't know if I'll be able to retire soon, but my goal is, I didn't reach it this year, but my goal was to be able to leave my job if I wanted to. Not quite there yet, but if some stuff starts paying off pretty well, I'd be there probably pretty quick next year.
Does your wife work full time?
No, my wife stays at home with our daughter.
Okay. So she's probably been a big help to you too.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely helps. That's one of the great things about being at home and doing that. My work from home is, my daughter, but then it's also one of the biggest distractions. So it's just working around, because she'll come in and I'll be doing work and she'll start messing with my LED lights behind me and stuff like that. But it's fun, and I'm glad to be around. That's ultimately what I'm doing this for, is to have more time with my family.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, as I've always said, anything that I can do, to help everybody reach their goal. Paul, I'm having a freaking ball. I really am.
You're the busiest retired person I know, sir.
and want to get busier.
Yeah. All right. Hi, everyone. This is Paul Cooper, your host of the Take Note podcast. And today we have Dickie Baldwin from the Baldwin Advisory Group on here. We're going to talk about Baldwin's history throughout time here with his real estate and what he's got going on, how he's made some amazing connections over the years, and how you can take advantage of them by using his services. And it's a service that I use almost monthly. All of my notes get some type of help from Dickie, and I think he'll be a valuable tool for you moving forward, no matter what type of real estate investing you do. So with that, Dickie.
Good afternoon, and once again, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So, yep, turned 35 a couple of days ago with the wife, and just been kind of relaxing. And yeah, now we get to celebrate it 2 days later with Dickie, and he's gonna help us out. And so I guess if you'd like to take a moment and just explain, who you are, what you've kind of done, since you've had a very long real estate career. You've been in the markets for what, well over 30 years, probably longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, pushing 40.
Yep, yeah, so longer than I've been around.
Like I told you, I've got grandkids your age.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing though.
All right, well, just to once again, thank you, Paul, to tell you a little bit about, started as a realtor many, many years ago in Houston, Texas, and then got into loan origination, did wholesale lending, did correspondent lending, did warehouse lending, eventually set up multiple net mortgage branch operations up around the country when that was a popular thing to do. So a loan originator, been in the title industry as well as being a note investor. When we started in the note industry, it was brand spanking new. And a lot of the folks really didn't know where to go to get something done. Fortunately, with all the mortgage history and everything we had some great contacts where we were able to buy the bulk pools of assets sold in bulk. So I understand where you, as either a brand spanking new investor or a seasoned investor, what needs to be accomplished in order to make you even that much more successful. Throughout the years, I realized that, geez, who do I call to get this done, or who do I call to get this done? And really, the internet was back when I started not as popular as it is now. But for instance, if you want a BPO, broker price opinion, if you've never done one, you may turn around and go through 15 different companies before you'll find somebody that, number one, wants to work with, especially a small investor, and then one that is priced reasonably. So putting all that together, I might mention that back in 2018, I did retire because I was turning 70. And Paul knows this for a fact. After a couple of days of being retired, I got really, really bored and started thinking about what can I do to utilize all the people that I do know in the industry and what would be beneficial to the investor. So voila, the creation of Baldwin Advisory Group, better known as BAG. And if you'll see the little slogan up here at the top, it's one bag for all your real estate services. And so what I like to do, Paul, is just since I do have so many different things and not spend a whole lot of time on each individual one, but just to let everyone know this is completely a one-stop shop, and more vendors are hearing what I'm doing and are reaching out to me and want to be part of the bigger picture, which you guys are the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's just great. It's, you work hard your whole life to get the success, and then you're like, nah, retirement's not for me. I'm too bored. So now you have to do this whole other group here and staying busy that way. We really appreciate it, though. So, yeah, if you wouldn't mind, why don't you show us some more of your services? I'll go ahead and tell everyone right now, I use you for BPOs like it's nobody's business. That saves me a ton of money because I hate dealing with individual realtors, but you've got a whole host of services that can really help people out.
Absolutely. So the website, baldwinadvisorygroup.com. And if you ever do need to contact me, my phone number, 936-447-4170, and email is dbaldwin@baldwinadvisorygroup.com. With that being said, let's just go, we'll scroll down off of the home page here, and you'll be able to see a little block for each one of the different services that are available in the BAG network. And as you can see, it's quite extensive. So what I'd like to do is just highlight each one, do a little explanation, and then naturally take any questions. The two most popular things in your due diligence obviously are your search, and so I've got these right at the top. So somebody says, well, what is a BPO? Well, if you'll look right here, a broker price opinion is a report that is performed by a licensed real estate agent, blah, blah. So if you want to learn a little bit more, you click on that read more button, or especially the newer investors, what is a BPO or broker price opinion? And with that being said, also a property inspection report. So if you have an asset and you want to do the BPO or property inspection, simply go to the click here button, log in your company name, phone, email, what is the subject address, and then for a BPO, are you wanting an exterior, interior, or even a full appraisal, which I do offer, or do you want a property inspection, exterior or interior? And then will be a code that you can put in, hit submit, and then that immediately comes to me appraisal. Now I know, Paul, that you do the BPOs.
Yep.
There's also a product called a hybrid appraisal, and it's one step up from what a BPO is. What happens in the hybrid, the vendor will have someone go out and take pictures, and it can be done exterior, or if you have access to the interior, it could also be done interior. But they will take the subject pictures, and then that information is given to a licensed appraiser versus a real estate agent. And then, because obviously appraisers are trained to do these type of things as a real estate agent, a lot of times, they're just going out looking at the property and filling in numbers.
Okay.
A lot of the lenders that are in my network are utilizing my hybrid appraisal before they will make a loan.
Okay, that makes perfect sense, because I was going to ask you, when would you recommend that? Because for me, I don't think I would ever really need that unless I was just rehab the property, but hopefully a realtor could do that. So that's what my question to you was going to be. So
Correct.
When would you suggest that?
More importantly, when it is going in, maybe even a seller finance.
Okay.
If you're going to be doing one of your properties as a seller finance, that it would be advantageous to do it.
Yeah, because if you're going to write a mortgage, you're going to need an appraisal usually.
Correct.
So that makes sense.
Once again, that is the order form. Now, there's many times that existing clients such as yourself will just utilize my email, send me the information about what needs to be done. Either or is
how quickly do you receive those orders through that submission form? Pretty much instantaneously.
Seconds.
Okay, so like with me, we had that one kind of mad scramble to get something done quickly. Like if someone has a really a really big time crunch when they need to get something done, like immediately, should they just call you to let you know?
Absolutely.
So if you got the normal
I'm here.
timeline, so the normal timeline, submit it, but like, hey, like I've got a question about the product, or it needs to be done immediately, give you a call and see if it can be done in that short time frame.
Absolutely. And a
Okay.
lot of times, even when I get the order form, I will immediately follow up with the client to make sure that I'm on the same page they are.
Cool. Yeah, especially first time.
Absolutely. So that is the BPO. Now, I might mention the two things that I will invoice you, the client, for directly are the BPOs and title searches.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being is each of these are private labeled under the bag logo. And because of the concept of strength in numbers, I am the client with these different vendors. Instead of having hundreds and hundreds of clients, it all comes in through me. They invoice me. I in turn invoice you.
Cool. Yeah, that
And
reminds
then
me, I need to talk to you about O&Es, see if I can get a better price through you than what I'm getting individually.
right now, uh, I'm in a position, and let's talk about pricing real quick.
Okay.
One of the things that I wanted to do is have everybody be like a big guy in pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, if somebody's got 500 assets, they're going to get a huge break. But what if you've got one asset? I try and price these two items as if you were a small bulk player.
Okay.
So you can do one at a time. And like on a title search right now, and an O&E current owner search, I'm able to do nationwide at $85. That's with the documents being included.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, that's lower than any place in the marketplace.
Okay. Yeah, I think I get a little bit of a discount, but yeah, I think that's maybe a touch cheaper than what I'm paying. But the other thing is I also paid to have them checked with like city ordinance and all the extra bells and whistles and everything too. So it gets a
Yeah,
little
yeah. I
expensive.
mean, because a lot of times the water and sewer and things are not recorded,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's an added, and I can do the same thing, but yes, there is an added expense because in some instances the abstractor has to physically go to
Yep.
that department and get that information.
I would highly suggest anyone that's investing in St. Louis City or County pay the extra for it because they have crazy shenanigans with their sewer liens.
Absolutely. And not every city and county is there an issue,
Yeah.
but there are definitely the several of the ones that you mentioned do make a big difference.
Well, you look at it because I pay like an extra $60 to have it done, I think on average. So it's almost doubling the cost, but it's saved me from probably at least buying properties that would have encumbered me with at least another $100,000 worth of liens if I hadn't done that.
Absolutely.
So like it's worth it to pay that little bit extra money up front to get it done.
Well, my concept, even when as an investor, it made so much sense to spend a couple of $100 per asset
Yep,
on due diligence because that $200 could save you 20, 30, 40,
exactly.
$50,000 in the unknown.
Yeah, the 50 to $60 you're going to save is you're going to end up paying it on some alligator eventually if you don't. I think people are really being short-sighted if they don't just pay for all the
Well,
best upfront
and
due
Paul,
diligence.
here's the other thing, especially on a title search. People say, well, I can go online and I can get that information, or I can go to the courthouse.
Sometimes.
So depending on where you live, I mean, time is money.
Hmm.
How long does it take you to get in your car and drive to wherever the courthouse is, stand in line, go through stacks and stacks of books and computer files, uh, get the information that you want, load back in your car, go home, realize, oh, wait a minute, I missed something, get back in your car, go back and start the whole process again. When you can
Exactly.
turn around and have individuals that do this day in and day out, and
At
they know
that
what they're,
point, you might as well just hire a full-time person if you're big enough. I mean, it's what, stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. It's insane.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, and for people like myself, I'm trying to go full-time with this. I'm not full-time yet. I've still got a full-time job. I've got a daughter. I've got a family to take care of. Like it's not the way I want to spend my time.
Well, I mean, you mentioned a job. There are several of my clients, which you know, that have quit their full-time
Yep.
jobs and are doing this full-time, and they still utilize
I would.
the bag network.
I would. My time's better spent working with employees and VAs, finding new sources of funding, finding new deals and asset managers. Like if I can automate any of this, and even though you're like, oh, it's $200 a deal, just for that, it's done. I don't have to worry about it. It saves me so much time. So when I get a title report or a BPO from you, I maybe spend 30 seconds to 2 minutes looking at it. Now, if there's something weird on it, then I'll look longer, but it's usually a very quick glance. Like I know your format, it's got the information I need, it's done.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned O&E. This is the title search section. A lot of people say O&Es, owner and encumbrances,
Mm-hmm.
title search. Basically, there are several different type of reports you can do. You can do a current owner search, which typically is utilized in the note industry. You have a two owner search, which will obviously go back over the last two owners, and that's used an awful lot in contract for deeds as well as in REOs. And then naturally you have your 30, 40, 60 year search if you're needing to go all the way back to the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm.
So in the note industry, typically the O&E report or the current owner search is what is utilized.
Yep. Every now and then I've done a 30-year when it was really, really odd and we needed to figure out something in the collateral file, but it's almost always just a standard O&E for us.
Correct. And this is just, once again, I've tried to make it, especially once again for the new investors, what is a title search? Well, this basically just goes through to let you know that it's gathering all of the public records on the subject. And once again, the same form. You want the current owner search, the foreclosure or two owner search, 30-year search. I also do commercial.
Okay.
And on updates, typically if you have an O&E report that is around 6-7 months old and you're wanting to get an update, we can go back from when that last O&E report was done up to the current.
Yep.
And it's a little less expensive.
And here's an example of that. Like if you're
report.
refinancing your home, like I'm doing that right now, they want me to get a full title. I'm trying to just do an update since we bought our home not quite 3 years ago. There's no point doing a full title insurance policy if we can just do an update. I don't know if they're going to let me get away with it, but it could be a good way to save you money.
Absolutely. And then once again, completing and then hitting submit. In the way we get. This is something, and you mentioned finding assets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always
This
looking for
is
more
what
sources.
I call my REO in notes section. And it's basically where I will be able to connect a seller and a buyer, or a buyer and a seller. So how do I do that? Well, once again, and I might mention all these little forms that I'm showing you, each one is very specific to whatever that service happens to be, not just a generalized form. But this has really taken off because so many people in the industry, and a lot of times sellers that are wanting to sell assets, they're reaching out to me and saying, can you help me sell these on a nationwide platform? On the other hand, a lot of buyers are coming to me asking if I can help them find assets. So how do I do that? On this particular form, I like to have it dated, so when it goes into the database, I'm able to keep track of it. But once again, the company information, phone number, address, etc. Then you let me know if you're a seller or a buyer. And that's just a matter of clicking the button. And you want notes. Do you want performing notes, non-performing notes, contract for deeds, residential, commercial, bulk, individual? And then what states do you want? Very, very important. And then the range of investments. I mean, there's some people that don't want anything under $50,000. There's some folks that want things from 25,000 to 75. So this just gives me a little idea of your range of investment.
When you say range of investment, are you talking about the value of the home or the unpaid balance?
On this particular one, it really doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
Because I will always follow up. When I get this form, I will follow up with a personal call just to get a better handle, or you can also put comments in.
So like for me, what I would probably put in comments is for non-performing notes, I want an unpaid balance of at least 25,000. And then for performing, I want it to have at least 10,000. And then that should give you a good idea of what I'm looking for then.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And the reason that I don't have a whole lot of different boxes, I try to make it
too cumbersome.
Real simple, because I follow up. You let me know if you want residential, commercial, bulk, individual, the rehab, light to medium, medium to heavy. Once again, what states do you want, the values, and hitting submit. And then that comes to me, and I've got all the pertinent information right here that I can turn around and email you and call you.
Cool.
Now, what do I do with this? I'm old school. In fact, I still use carbon paper between two sheets of white paper. But this information goes into a database, obviously separated from seller to buyer. And the reason that the states are so important right here, for instance, let's say that Paul wants a non-performing note and he only wants assets in Idaho. Well, in my database, I'm able to mark off Idaho. And so if I have a seller that has some product in Idaho, then I simply put Paul directly with that seller, and then I'm done.
Cool.
I don't chase documents. I don't get in the middle of pricing. I typically don't send out addresses, because you know what it's like on the internet. Everybody looks at the same tape on the internet. That's not my goal. My goal is to specifically put you with a seller that has product that you're looking for.
Cool.
And what does that cost? It does, on the buyer side, I don't charge a fee to the buyer. If the seller is able to do a transaction with you, then I collect a point from the seller.
Okay, cool. Now, who are most of your sellers? Is it a pretty big mix? Is it mainly private?
It's a guy that may have 3 or 4 assets and he wanted to clean them out and get another group. I'm starting to get some bulk pools in now.
Okay, cool.
50 to 100. And keep in mind that bag really only started January of 2019. And as you and I had talked earlier, more and more word is getting out. And so a lot of my vendors that I have deal with the bigger players, and they're letting them know about the massive network that
that
I
you
have,
have. Cool.
because I do have, pat myself on the back, several 100,000 people in my database.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
And so this is a benefit of, yes, I may have a product that you have already seen, no harm, no foul. But my goal is, once again, not only the brand new investor, but the more seasoned investor. And everybody has the same issue of trying to get assets.
Yeah, especially in the note industry, it's been pretty tight the past couple of years. We've all been fishing from the same wells. A lot of it been really garbage, but I think it's slowly going to start picking up pace, and there's going to be better stuff with more reasonable pricing in the next year or two.
Oh, I do too. Hot item in the bag network, and I'm getting more and more people to complete that form. I might mention, Paul, that to be part of the bag network, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yep.
I don't have a registration fee. I don't have a monthly fee. You don't have to use all the services. You can use one of the services.
Yeah, that's what I've done. I've only used one service, and I've used the daylights out of it, though.
Well, and there's, hopefully, by letting everybody know all of these different things that are available, I'll be able to help you out even more. I've got a nationwide RMLO that will originate seller finance mortgages compliant to Dodd-Frank.
Awesome.
They're licensed by the FDIC, which allows them to be nationwide. And the pricing, once again, and let me explain how this works.
Okay.
Paul tells me that he wants to learn more about seller financing. I simply make an introduction to the RMLO and you, and then from that point on, you talk directly with whichever vendor it happens to be.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question. Do you have an idea how much it costs?
It's approximately $500.
Oh, well, I mean, if it stays in that range, that's very reasonable.
Yes.
I mean, most places won't even talk to you for less than 1,500, if not 2,000 or 3,000. So 500. I mean, that could really help out a lot of people, because there are states like Ohio that are starting to be really unfavorable to CFDs, and so a lot of people are starting to convert their CFDs to mortgages. And at that price point, that may make sense for a lot of people. That and mortgages.
And for an additional fee, they can also draw docs.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. And then the other thing is a lot of people are starting to convert them too, just because generally when you go to sell them on the secondary market, a mortgage usually gets a little bit more than a CFD, depending on the asset and the state, but usually a little bit more.
Well, the great part on this particular product is, as I said, it's compliant to Dodd-Frank.
Yep, that's
and
huge.
And so a certificate is given along with that, the product. And so if you would happen to sell that note to another investor, that certificate goes along with that note.
And that's huge, because if anything's ever wrong, then you're not liable for it. The originator is, and that's why they charge more for it than if you just wrote a CFD.
Absolutely. Very, very, very hot product. Property preservation. What is property preservation? Well, that's the maintenance of vacant properties and things that need to be done. This is really overwhelming when you go into this order form, and this is just a brief history. Once again, collect the pertinent client information, subject property information, but then these are all the different things you can do for securing the property.
Mm-hmm.
You want window glazing, you want boarding, you want debris removal, you want landscaping, you want a dryer vent cover put on, you need winterization, you need inspections. I mean, this just is the tip of the iceberg of the property preservation that an investor will eventually, especially on vacant properties.
Well, yeah. CFDs right now, especially since we're going into winter, getting places winterized, it can be a huge deal.
I won't say their name, but early last year, it was probably November, late November, first part of December, one of the clients wanted his property winterized, which was okay, but it was in Wisconsin,
Definitely need it there.
and they'd already had like 10 deep freezes
Yep.
by November. So the point being is, uh, there's a lot more to owning a piece of property.
Yeah.
There's, if the grass isn't cut, you're going to get a citation
Yeah, you
from
could
the
add
county,
that.
or if it needs rehab, or if you need door knocking done to find out if somebody lives there, and who they are that lives there. So
Well,
property preservation is a wide spectrum of services. It's ideal for you're living in California, and you own property in Georgia. You're not going to get on an airplane
mm-hmm.
and go cut the grass. So you need to have the backup to be your legs on the ground. And I can even, I take this one step further, and I'll be able to show you that here in just a minute.
Well, here's a pro tip that I've heard of. So I'm a note investor. We've mainly talked about notes. I know some landlords, long distance landlords, that use property preservation companies to do stuff because they got sick and tired of getting ripped off by property managers. And these preservation companies are pretty good because they do go out there, they take before and after pictures, and they document everything that they do. So
Yes.
if you just, it's like, hey, if it needs a little bit of paint and touch up, they're going to take before and after pictures, and it's going to be done. Whereas your property management company could just be billing you here and there. So
Well, and
that's something you can do.
also, with the property preservation, doing an inspection,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times they, depending on the company, but a lot of them will give a bid
Yet to get everything fixed.
to get everything
Yeah,
fixed,
and
which
they're
is,
usually very thorough.
oh, very, very, very much so. Most preservation companies deal primarily with HUD and Fannie type
Yep.
property. They have to meet some pretty stringent regulations.
Yeah, I mean, if the property preservation company gives you like, hey, it's good now, the property's probably good because they've probably caught everything. I mean, they're
Correct.
very thorough.
Absolutely. We mentioned earlier private money.
Mm-hmm.
I've got several hard money and private money lenders. Obviously, that's more on the fix
Fix
and
and
flip
flip.
arena. The reason
Still
I've
good.
got several is no one program fits everybody.
Yep.
Like I've got one that is acceptable to doing. Most of the lenders don't even want to touch something like that.
You cut
So
out there. It was sub
that's
how
a.
much?
I'm sorry.
You cut out there. It was sub how much that most lenders don't
Oh,
want.
I've got one lender that will do loans on under $50,000.
Oh, okay. So they'll do some pretty low level loans then.
Correct.
That's rare.
Yes. Yes. The ability to put you directly in touch with a couple of nationwide title companies that will do the typical closing, like when you bought your house, but they'll also do escrow holding. They do lender's title policies in some cases. So just about anything that you need done by a title company, I've got the nationwide coverage for that also.
Cool.
Title curative and release tracking. Quick example on release tracking. Had a client that, and it happened to be a Texas file, that an Illinois attorney was trying to resolve. The situation was there was a Wells first and then a Wells second HELOC. And the homeowner had refinanced, and when it was all said and done, it showed that the new first was on there, but the old HELOC still was not released properly.
Mm-hmm.
And the attorney worked and worked and worked and worked for months along with trying to get with Wells, trying to get with First American, who happened to be the title company, couldn't get anything done. They finally gave me the file. I put it with my release tracking vendor, and they had it done in a week.
Awesome.
And it
Well,
cost
I've
them
got one I may need some help with here. So
and
after
it
we're done
cost
with
them
this, I'll have to reach out.
$100.
Yeah. Yeah. Using an attorney to cure title, it can take a while and it gets really expensive really dang quickly. I mean, you could end up getting high four figures, low five figures really quick on a property that's not worth it. So,
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is a little bit separate from a title company. In fact, this particular vendor works with numerous title companies around the country and does their release tracking.
so basically, they're the Dickie Baldwin of title curative then.
Pretty much.
Awesome. Perfect.
Collateral review, have several vendors that can assist. And one thing about a collateral review, if it's a new person, they may not know what they're looking at.
Hmm.
If they may not know what they're looking at, and then you could have the seasoned person that just doesn't have time to go through a collateral package. So with that being said, the collateral review, when it's outsourced like that, they let you know what you do have, what you don't have, and what you should have in
Hmm.
order to make an intelligent decision. They don't tell you yes, buy the asset or don't buy the asset.
I've been
They,
told a couple times definitely not to buy, but yes, I've usually it's like, oh no, it looks good. That's what you're going to get. It doesn't appear to be missing anything.
right, and reports go along with
Yeah.
what needs to be done, and just a complete overview of the package.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's extremely important. I'm not very good at looking at collateral files. Like it's got to be very straightforward, and so that's why I always pay to have it done. And then the other thing is um, the professionals that do this all the time, they're going to know the individual states and counties that have oddball stuff. Like, and they're going to have people on retainer. Like North Carolina, it all has to be done by an attorney. If you didn't know that, then you may look at a collateral file, everything's there, but it wasn't prepared by the proper individual. You didn't know that, and now you've got to try to figure that out and go back and fix it.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
just like the O&Es. It's something you can technically do yourself, but just pay the professional to have it done. It's either that or you need to eventually pay for a professional to come on staff and do for you. But I wouldn't do it myself if I didn't have to.
Absolutely. And once again, hence the Baldwin Advisory, because each one of these services are very specific to a challenge, and you're not going to have a collateral review person do a title search,
Yeah, it's
or
very
vice
niche
versa.
and specialized.
Correct. A lot of times you mentioned doing it yourself, assignments and recordings. There's an art to it. This is not an expensive process, but
It's a pain.
they are set up to do it the proper way, so you won't have to use this release tracking.
Again, each state and county is different. They have their own standards. There's no national just standard way to do it. And like you get certain states that are really picky, like Ohio's insanely picky. That's why I always just have my collateral file review person who you work with, and she does your stuff,
Right.
take care of it for me because I don't want to mess with it. Because you can,
Absolutely.
a lot of states you can e-file it, but like Ohio, again, it has to be done in person. I'm not going to Ohio to do it, folks. That's all there is to it. I don't have the time.
It's like going to Ohio to cut grass.
Yeah.
You're not going to go over and do that.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like you said, it's cheap. So maybe you have $20 worth of filing fees and you pay someone 10 to 20 bucks to do it. So you double the price, but it still wasn't expensive and it's done properly and it's taken care of.
Paul, the key to in my experience, if you spend a couple of $100 on getting something done, or even $300 or $400 if you get into collateral review
Mm-hmm.
and all that, either you're going to make that money back over a period of time, or if you turn around and sell that asset, it's easy to recoup
Oh, yeah.
the minimal cost in order to do all this.
Well, and the other thing is you should be taking all of these costs into mind before you bid on anything and realize this is the cost of doing business. That's why when I tell people when they're starting off to bid on a non-performing note, that they should probably add at least $7,000 to the acquisition price as the total funding amount for the note to acquire, for everything, to do the initial due diligence, bank transaction fees, all that stuff. It should cover almost everything except a really bad legal or legal dispute or a rehab. And so it's the cost of doing business. It's like, driving a car. If you only think it's your car payment, you're going to be sadly mistaken. You're going to have to do maintenance. You're going to have to pay for gas and insurance and everything else.
Yep.
So,
well, going on, for somebody such as yourself that's plus files, I'm sure you don't like all those original files being in your bedroom closet in a box or something. I've got the ability to store original documents, which
is that done with a collateral file reviewer person?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's who I use currently. If you are going to do it yourself, what I would suggest is you either need to go buy a fire safe or go get a climate controlled storage unit. I've known some people that have done that, but again, usually having the person that Dickie and I use do it, it's very cheap. And most of the time, if you throw a bunch of collateral business their way, they're not even going to charge you like the $10 a month or whatever it would be. So, but yeah,
absolutely
take care of it, because you don't want to have it sitting around, because, if God forbid something happens, there's water, smoke, or fire damage, hopefully you had everything recorded, but now it could take you a while to do all the lost note affidavits and everything else, and it's going to be expensive.
Well, I mean, if an unfortunate situation does arise, like you're talking about a fire or something like that, do you choose to pick the dog up first or your collateral files and get out of the house?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's once again, it's common sense. Back in the old days, it wasn't such a big deal of having a servicer, but now it's almost mandatory, you might say, for servicing. And so, excuse me, I've got, if you're looking for a new servicer or you don't like where you are and you want to investigate, I've got the relationships with several nationwide servicers. Prices vary, services vary. Once again, like on the notes and REOs, I don't try and get in the middle of pricing because that is their job, and they realize that you're out there trying to run a business, and they want to be as economical for you as they possibly can. Same goes with self-directed IRA. I've got several self-directed IRA vendors that I'm more than happy to make an introduction to. Once again, everything varies in pricing and what they can do and can't do.
Yep.
If you ever run into a situation where you need an IRS tax attorney, I've got one that will take on the IRS, typically a $10,000 or more claim, but has been extremely successful. It's not one of the guys you see on TV about taking care of your taxes. This is an individual attorney firm, and that's all they do is tax against the IRS.
Yeah, when it's like, if you're going to get in a tax attorney, you want to get a tax attorney that only does taxes. And then if you're going to do IRS stuff, you want someone that's all they do, because it's correct. It's going to be tough. You're going to be in a very stressful, bad situation. You want to be able to just cut the check you need to cut to the appropriate individual that's going to protect you. Because that's one of the things that'll keep you up at night for sure.
Absolutely. And I mean, I actually saw the letter, but this attorney received a letter from the IRS complimenting him on how well he had put a file together to dispute a claim.
You don't have to tell me the name, but is this firm located in the Denver metro area?
No,
Okay.
no.
Then it's a
He's
different guy then.
he's a Houston boy.
Okay. Because I was going to say there's a firm in the Denver area where the guy, he's a tax attorney. He went to and got his master's degree in taxes, in tax law, and he does it incredibly well. And basically, whenever he gets involved, the IRS generally backs off and is much more pleasant.
Well, you got to have the strength, and you got to have the knowledge,
Yeah,
and that's what
absolutely.
these guys do. As far as your contact in Denver, I'd love to have a conversation with him.
Okay,
This is
remind
not
me.
big item in the bag network, but it is an additional service that you never know when you might need it.
And when you need it, you desperately
Need it.
need it.
Absolutely. This is one, Paul, that you and I have spoken about numerous times, and it's a nationwide realtor network. Now, I'm sure everybody that's going to be on this call has probably reached out to try and find a realtor. We all know there's a lot of realtors in the United States, but there are very, very few which I would consider investor friendly.
Hmm.
And the realtors that have been vetted to be part of the BAG network not only can list, sell, property manage for you, especially if you're an out-of-state investor, but many of them are able to do door knocking. They're able to arrange to have a door lock changed. They're able to clean a house out. They're able to rehab it. They're able to help winterize it. They are actually your feet on the ground. And what I do is I put you directly in touch with that realtor, and you're dealing one-on-one with the realtor. The goal is to eventually have an investor-friendly realtor in every major city of the United States.
And
Right now,
that's
I've got
great.
70, a little over
Well,
70.
and the other thing is it'd be great to have one in every major city, but even if you don't, if you know one in a city that's close to that city, then hopefully they know a realtor that's good in that area. But yeah, it's unfortunately most realtors don't know investing, and they don't know that they don't know it. So it can be
Correct.
rough.
And the whole concept with having this is when I talk to the realtors, I I, I don't say I'm going to send you 10 people, 20 people, 30, whatever. My goal is to be able to bring in the right kind of realtor that can increase their income by being your feet on the ground, as well as potentially listing, selling, or property managing that asset for you.
No,
And
that's great.
so, if I mean, as I said, I do have uh, are already 70, but anybody that happens to be a realtor in an area that I'm not in, or you have used a realtor that I may not have coverage on. I mean, my whole business is networking, and I'll be more than happy to talk to them also.
Yep, that's the thing, folks. Help Dickie help us by if you know good people, recommend them so he can vet them and help someone else.
Absolutely. Also, nationwide network of attorneys. Got the United States covered, uh, where they can assist you in foreclosure, eviction, bankruptcies, etc. Once again, I put you directly in touch with that attorney, uh, and you're able to deal one-on-one with them, because it's tough to find, once again, an investor-friendly attorney
Yeah, well,
that
especially
understands
yeah,
real estate.
and to find good ones, because a lot of these places that'll do foreclosures, they'll be one-stop shots for like everything. So it's just like, if you really want to get a good forfeiture or foreclosure done, like you want them to focus on that. You don't want them to like, oh, we'll do that and we'll do taxes and we can set up companies and everything else, just because it's going to be watered down and they're probably not going to be necessarily
Well,
the
and the great part about some of my attorney firms are they're licensed in multiple
Yep,
states.
that's very helpful.
So, and that helps you grow. Lastly, on as far as what's being published, I can do skip tracing. Had very good luck with my skip tracer, and because you never know when you buy that note and you're trying to track down that homeowner that may have left, then the skip tracer could definitely be of benefit to you.
Mm-hmm.
As you see in this little section right in here, it's blank, and my web guy is on vacation right now. But as soon as he gets back, we're going to be redoing some of the forms because they are a year old now, and we've learned a lot in the first year. But additional services, I've got force-placed insurance, believe in it or not, some credit repair.
Okay.
Been approached by someone that is very heavy into tax liens.
Okay, cool.
So there's just a multitude of little items that notary. I'm getting together after our call today with the nationwide notary, where if you need a notary in Denver and you're living in New York, you can call me and I'll be able to go to one source and get that notary for you.
Are they a mobile notary?
Yes.
Good, yeah, because that's important. Because like with us, if I'm trying to do like a deed in lieu or something for foreclosure and get the property back, your borrowers will say that they're going to follow through and do stuff, and then it's like it's time for them to sign it, and so they can get their check and move on, and they haven't had it notarized. That's why just nip it in the bud, get the mobile notary, and tell them, hey, I have a mobile notary. They're going to meet you here at your house at what's a good time, and just be very aggressive about it. Don't leave it up to chance, and that's a very good service.
Absolutely. So this is coming soon. If you ever need to just send a contact information, that's me.
Yep, there you are.
Yep. And my one of my kids gave me this slogan. It says, "Feel free to get in touch with me. I'm always open to discussing new projects, creative ideas, and opportunities to enhance the growth of our bag network." If real estate's your game, Dickie Baldwin is the name.
Oh no, I think I like your original one in Dallas that we had for you, the Dickie Quickie.
Oh,
The services, but
I didn't think you were going to bring that one up.
This one's probably a little bit more professional. Of course, that one's perfect. I would have, if I was you, I'd have I'd have that slogan on all my stuff. A Dickie Quickie is for everything. Bag's pretty good and everything, but yeah, I mean, you'll never be forgotten that way. It's kind of like the plumbing company that has a painting on the side of the van to where it looks like the driver's on the toilet. You're never going to forget those guys.
But Paul, I really want to thank you for the opportunity to do this. I know a lot of podcasts. I think even people that use me on a regular basis, such as yourself, can see, wait a minute, there's some things here that I should probably look into.
Yep, definitely.
Instead of having to jump on the internet.
Yep. No, you provide a great service, and you've really, I mean, honestly, like I said earlier, I probably would have closed up shop if we hadn't come up with a way to help me with those BPOs, because trying to wrangle these realtors across the nation when they're complete strangers was just such a nightmare. It was easily the worst part of this business, and you've made it so much easier now to get that taken care of.
I really appreciate that, and I'm glad that I was able to help, because that is the testament of the whole concept of Baldwin Advisory. It's to make your life easier Was I retired? Yeah, for about 3 days. Really, it's not that I got bored. I just realized that I could make a hole in one every time I played golf. So I got disgusted and decided to do this. But this has really been fun because I have helped hundreds of people in this year alone um, get to a point where it's helping their business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't doubt it at all. It's been great. I mean, you've really helped me grow, and now your website finally reflects what you do. Since you've got things set up. Before then, it was just us calling you and bothering you nonstop to get stuff done.
Hey, I love the phone calls. I definitely love the phone calls and the emails. So once again, Paul, anything that I can do to help you or your crew, uh, please reach out.
I will, and I'll. They've got your contact information, and then maybe when you get some more things online, like your new tax lien and other stuff, maybe we have you come back on and do a quick refresher and just give us a little update. But no, I think
Absolutely.
I mean, this stuff here can help just about anyone. It's not just note investors, fix and flippers, rehabbers, rental, commercial, even. I mean, if you're involved in real estate, you could use some type of product on here. And if for some reason Dickie's not your guy, he's going to know the guy that can help you out. And he's
Yeah,
been very giving with
I
his
don't
time and
have a
network.
problem saying that I can't do it, but let me see if I can help you. Because
Exactly.
I do have a large network. And as I tell all these different vendors, look, guys, I'm out there, I'm selling for you, but I'm not on your 401k. I'm not
Hmm.
asking for major medical, dental. Let me help your business grow. And they're seeing the advantage, like you and I had talked earlier on broker price opinions. Typical investor, may do 10 a year. I'll
Hmm.
do 300 plus a month.
Yep.
So that
Uh,
is lots of strength.
yeah, it's huge. You've really become quite a force when it comes to a lot of these different inspections with investors and vendors. So it's pretty cool to watch you grow, and it's just helping us out.
Absolutely. Well, buddy, you and your wife, whose birthday is also on the same day as yours, I hope you enjoy your little vacation. And anybody reach out, and I'll spend as much time with you as you need.
Oh, sounds good. I've been singing your praises for a while. We'll get this out there. And if any of you have any questions for Dickie, don't hesitate to reach out. If you have questions for me about Dickie, I think it was pretty obvious that I already recommend him, but I'm more than happy to tell you what services I specifically use. But anyways, we'd like to thank all of your time, or thank all of you for coming in and viewing and listening. Let us know what you want in the future, and don't hesitate to reach out. You all have a good day. Bye.
Bye bye.